the musicians, recording engineers, singers, and producers that have changed your world, including mine. Before we get started, I'd like to give a thanks out to our sponsors. That we couldn't do this without these guys, and it makes us sound and play better. DW Drums, Peisty Cymbals, Remo Drum Heads, Regal Tip Drumsticks and Brushes, Blue Microphones, Zoom Cameras, LP Percussion, Roland, and Source Connect Pro. This day is great. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. It gives me such great pleasure to introduce this gentleman. In 1967, Danny Seraphine was one of the architects, founders of the band Chicago Transit Authority, soon after known as just simply Chicago. As the original drummer for this band, Danny performed and contributed his songwriting talents for over 22 years. During his tenure, Chicago was the leading singles charting group of the 1970s. And collectively, this band has generated sales over 130 million units in the United States alone, 22 gold, 18 platinum, and 8 multi-platinum albums. During the course of their career, they charted 5 number-one albums, 21 top 10 hits, and Chicago historically is one of the longest-running and most successful U.S. pop, rock, and roll bands, second only to the Beach Boys in terms of singles and albums. Danny has been recognized as one of the world's most highly respected and influential drummers of all time. Not only was he rated by the legendary Buddy Rich as one of his favorite young drummers, Danny also earned a rank on Rolling Stone's all-time top 100 drummers. Following his departure from Chicago, he went on to produce recording artists, Broadway and off-Broadway shows, and an independent movie and soundtrack. In 2006, he formed the new CTA, California Transit Authority, which he continues to tour and record today while carrying on his jazz rock legacy. Chicago Transit Authority started in 1969. Danny recently got the Lifetime Achievement Award from Cape Breton Drum Festival and the Montreal Drum Fest, and is recognized for Songwriting of the Year from Pitbull's I Know You Want Me. After 49 years, Danny and the original 6 members of Chicago were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame, baby, and all I'm saying is welcome, my friend Danny Seraphine.
JR, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm still above the ground and feeling good. How about yourself?
Me too. And we have to be thankful for that, don't we?
Like what we've seen in the last year, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Man,
how's
everything going?
Artists, yeah.
I know, but we're going to continue on, man. Hey, I want to talk about young Danny, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Did you come from a musical family?
Not really. No. My uncle was a drummer, and that's kind of what inspired me to lit the fire under me to become a drummer. And I saw him play at a couple of family events and a wedding, and that just kind of lit the spark. And then I saw the Gene Krupa story. I was already playing, but the Gene Krupa story, I started playing along with that soundtrack, and kind of that's how I think that was really instrumental in developing my style. You know.
Did you sit in on your uncle's kit?
Well, I was too small, but he let me play on the kit. You know, it was an old Ludwig kit. You know, because being from Chicago, obviously Ludwig and Slingerland were the 2 Chicago drum companies, and I believe Campbell actually too. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Also, when I always ask these to all of us drummers, and like when it hit me, when were you hit by that drum bolt?
Immediately. I knew what I wanted to do from age 9 when I got when I got the drum bolt, and that was it. I've never turned back.
You see, we were born into this, and I think it's evident from every time I turn on the radio, I hear you. So that's good.
Well, the same thing. I hear you too, John. You've done so many amazing records and so many great drum parts. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Let's go back to the young Danny for a second, because we can talk later in the next segment about you and I and things like that. But do you remember the names of your bands when you were like just first starting out?
Well, the real bands, yeah. There was Jimmy Forty and the Executives, which was the first band that I played there, where I met Walt Parazader and Terry Kath, There was a horn band, ironically. And then another band called the Missing Links, which was also with Walt and Terry. And then after the Missing Links, there was the big thing, which was really what turned into be Chicago Transit Authority in Chicago.
Wow.
So, but as far as the early, the bands, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think there was a couple like the Clubmen, really lame names. I'm trying to think, and they were. It's what was so frustrating when I was so young is the players weren't as serious as I was, nor were they as gifted. And I'm not saying that to be egotistical. As you know as well as you're born with. There's a certain amount that we're born with, and of course then we have to cultivate it. But most of the early bands that I was in, it was frustrating because they weren't as serious and they just weren't as good, and so it was frustrating for me until that's when I landed when I was 15 and a half, got called to audition for Walt and Terry's band, Jimmy Ford and the Executive. It was Dick Clark's. That was actually Dick Clark's road band, and that was a big step up for me, and it was a giant leap in my life.
Right. So most of your bands had horn players in them.
Well, the first that particular band had two horns, had sax and a really amazing trumpet player, and Walt was the sax player. Walt was the woodwind. There was no trombone yet.
Well, that obviously changed, but it's a great luxury to have horn players in your band. I mean, because you can bounce a lot more information off instead of having it all on the guitar player and the keyboard player.
Exactly. Well, I know you love it too. I love kicking brass. It's just there's nothing like it.
It lights you on fire. Is that where you met Kevin Murphy then with Dick Clark?
I met Kevin Murphy. I think I met him. It was in the Chicago days, and it was around that time. But I got to know him when Hawk was with him in Rufus, and you too, really. Yeah.
Right.
But
right.
yes, I knew. I didn't know him really well in the days of Chicago. We were friendly, and we talked, and he was what a B3 player, right? What a B3 player.
It was ridiculous, but he had done that stint with Dick Clark also. So I just wondered if you had crossed paths at that time.
I don't know if Kevin. Well, it wasn't while I was in the band. It might have been after. It might have been after that Kevin was in the band. But he had the reputation in the city of being such a great B3 player, and that B3 was so in vogue in those days. It was really, that was the shit. So.
Well, who was the keyboard player in that band when you auditioned at 16 and a half?
There was no keyboard player, ironically. Now I'm trying to think. It was Mike Terry on bass. I don't think there was a keyboard player. No, there wasn't. There wasn't a keyboard player. Isn't that weird? Yeah.
Well, that's getting back for what they did to us in the 80s. So that's another story.
That's true.
Did you, again, young Danny, did you play any other instruments besides drums?
No, never. When I studied privately at DePaul University, which was again a big turning point. It was after I'd met Walt and Terry, and Walt was going to DePaul University, and the head of percussion, his name was Bob Tillis, who was a renowned educator, and played with the staff with the CBS Orchestra and played with Art Van Dam, and he was an amazing teacher. He totally transformed me. He was the guy. He wanted me to play. He wanted me to play vibes, and he wanted me to play marimba. Ooh. And he was trying to lead me on that path, and I couldn't do it. I knew that if I went down that path, I wouldn't be as good a drummer as I wanted to be, because I wanted to be like Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich. And I felt the only way I could do that. I mean, I kind of regret that I didn't, because I'd be able to play keyboards and be a little more self-sufficient as far as songwriting, but I just told him one day, I said, I don't think I can do this and be as great a drummer as we want to be. It could have been my ADD. I had pretty serious ADD, and so reading was never one of my great. I could read. In those days, he had me reading pretty well, but it was really a struggle for me. Right.
Did he have you playing on the drum set method? mostly a swing stuff with independence? What was he teaching you at that point?
Well, he had me in a snare drum book, developing my technique. I forget the name of it. Was it Haskell W. Hauer, I think, or I forget.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and yes, he had me on some swing stuff, without a doubt, and he was just trying to refine what I already had, and obviously he made it a lot better because I became a good reader, and that really, when you're woodshedding so much on reading, you're woodshedding, and you just kind of naturally get better. So, but he wanted me to be a full, well-rounded. He wanted me to play marimba and vibes, and unfortunately, I couldn't hack it. So he just went on a straight drum set.
Well, listen, we'll be right back with Danny Seraphine.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, which.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
we are talking to Hall of Fame legendary drummer Danny Seraphine. That part always kicked my ass when I played that tune.
Well, it's a good workout, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, way to go.
It's a real good workout. It kicks my ass too, but I love it. I play every time I play that song, and it's a great tune. And the drum part is a fun. It was recorded in two pieces. I mean, obviously I play it as one now, but I have that little 5-stroke roll in the verses, And I remember the band when we were recording it. The band looked at me like I was. First of all, Gershio loved the fact that I was doing two separate drum kits. One just straight time, and then I was playing the next one playing fills. And at time I would double it just to make it really powerful. And the band walked in about 80% of the way through, fine tuning it, and then they put up such a fit that that we had to stop. So, and then when they went to mix it, they put up the one kit and then they put up the other, and everybody was oohing and ahhing. And so you can hear some looseness in it because it wasn't completely fine tuned. But yeah, it's a great tune.
Well, you created magic on that. So obviously, I've read a lot about your study methods and things. The Papa Joe Jones influence. Can you tell the drummers out there that are listening?
Well, everybody should spend an hour a day or 10 or 15 minutes a day looking at Papa Joe Jones on Drummer World and YouTube. And he was the essence of swing and style and grace, in his playing. He was a true entertainer, innovator. He just influenced so many guys, and I'm talking about Buddy, Louie, Max Roach, Tony Williams, and to have been able to study with him was just a great honor. And he really taught me how to swing, JR. I always had swing in me, but he taught me how to swing hard, and that's about the best. I mean, obviously it was brushes. You have to swing. You have to swing to be able to play brushes. I mean, per se, you can play straight. There's certain patterns you can play that aren't swing oriented, but really the essence of brushes are really swing. So that just gave me such a foundation for swing. Was studying with him. It was just an amazing experience. And there's a live album we have called Carnegie Hall. It's a 3-record set. It was pretty groundbreaking because it was a 3-record set, and we were the first rock band to play Carnegie Hall. And I remember one night everybody was up in arms because Leonard Bernstein was coming, and everybody was so nervous. But man, so the same night Joe Jones was coming to see me play, and that scared me. It scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh my God. And so at the end of the show, it was kind of John. It was kind of towards the end of his life, and he was not. He was a borrowed suit, and unfortunately, in those days especially, the guys didn't get the recognition or the money they deserved. But when he gave me that big smile, and said, man, you were great tonight, and I just like, wow, that made my life.
Yeah, I mean, what a great influence, man.
Oh, and I know he's influenced you too. I know that.
Absolutely. I mean, and in today's music, I mean, swing is a huge part of it, and I mean that's kind of my thematic thing about this show, Vinyl Night. It's you've touched so many people through vinyl, and now vinyl's being repressed. I mean, repressed. Pressed over, and it's basically what you and I grew up with, which was the swing concept. Exactly.
Totally. And, I feel like we were really lucky to have come up in the time we did and to have been a part of music in the time we were a part of music, because we got to experience really when you were really rewarded for creativity and uniqueness, and, people really listen. Not that they don't now, I don't mean, but it's a different business, it's a different industry, and it's a different mindset,
Right. I've got an early CTA question for you.
Okay.
That was a Rogers kit?
Yes, it was a Rogers kit.
Do you still have that?
I wish, man. I wish. I got one of my kits back, a Flingerland kit that was from the late 70s, and I gave it to the Hall of Fame to display for, But DW made me a replica of it that sounds. You have to come over because we're neighbors.
Yeah.
And we are, in California terms, we're neighbors. and we don't get together enough because we're always so busy doing our own thing. But you need to come over and check this kit out. That the DW made is beautiful, and it sounds, does it sound better? That was a great sounding kit. So is this one. The band even remarked when I sat in with them for those two songs, for the induction. That's a wonderful kit that John Good made up for me.
Well, you consider it done, and maybe about another week we'll do that. When did you go over to Slingerland?
Well, the reason I went to Rogers, one is that Rogers was kind of the Buddy was with Rogers at the time, I believe. Okay, for a short stint, and their hardware was so groundbreaking, and the Dynasonic snare drum, and Rogers were really the shit. In a sense, they were, obviously Ludwig and Slingerland were always great. They were fantastic drums, but also the record company I was on, CBS Record, owned Rogers drums, right?
Right.
So
right,
I got a drum kit. Virginia Guercio bought a drum kit for me. And we got it for a very reasonable price because it was the record company owned it. So, but I played the first two albums were Rogers, and then I went over to Slingerland. I always loved Slingerland because it was right in my neighborhood. And Gene Krupa was a Slingerland guy. And,
right.
and when I moved over to Slingerland, Buddy was there. So it was just kind of a. So what year would that be? I would have to say, let's just say 71. Was the year I moved over to Slingerland and stayed there until
that was Phil Halsey, right?
No, Don Osborne.
Oh, it was Don Osborne at that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got me my first drum endorsement, by the way, and it was Slingerland.
That's right. Man, I remember when I first saw you play with Hawk and Rufus, and I thought, God, what a great drummer. And we've been friends a long time, brother.
Well, that's not going to ever end. Okay, no. I've got a couple of questions here, as always. Did you enjoy Hour in the Shower? I mean, I know what it's about, but...
Yeah. Me playing on it?
Yeah.
Well, Terry, that was, I think, a Terry ritual, I think, so...
yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was part of a whole suite of songs, and I think I played Brushes on it, didn't I?
Yeah, it was Brushes. It was just, it always sat in my head, when I first bought CTA and just shed that album, all four sides. So, but there was something magical about that Caribou Ranch drum room that came later. What was magical about it?
Well, it was pretty. We got great drum sounds, but they were very dry and dead, right? Which was kind of the. It was kind of the antithesis of what my playing was about, which is what made the fact that I played all of these sophisticated swing, Buddy, kind of Gene Krupa. The drums were very, in those days, John, we used to deaden the shit out of the drums, right? And so I had to find that happy. I remember I had to find that happy medium. It was built by Westlake Audio. It was a beautiful room. The room was fantastic, but it was built for more of that era. I'm sure if they built it today, it would be a lot more live, I prefer the live. I don't know about you. I prefer the live, because then you could always bring things around it to make it dead, You can
right.
So it was really kind of an oxymoron because here we are. I'm recording especially the first CTA record, and I didn't know diddly squat about. I knew about tuning. I was playing. And I used calf heads on the first two Chicago albums, John, across the board.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that they sounded so phenomenal. But tuning them, you're tuning them, especially if you're playing them out live. You're tuning them between songs, which is why the drums always when you're constantly tuning, they're going to sound good. So, I had to deaden the drums so much, and yet still play. Like the Buddy stuff, and was really hard to play when a snare drum is that dampened. It's hard to do a press roll, and it's hard to do fast singles, but yet I still did. It took a lot more effort. And then first engineer, there were two engineers that kind of liberated me. One of them was Phil Ramone, right?
Right.
Because
God bless him.
he allows you to play. He encouraged you to play with very minimal dampening, if that's what your sound was. And the other one was Don Palouse, the guy who recorded "Make Me Smile." So,
right.
It's as you have to whatever. Like some of the Chicago songs were very Beatlesque. If they were Beatlesque, it had to be very dead, right? Really,
We'll be right back with the great Danny Seraphine.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
We're talking to Hall of Fame legend Danny Seraphine. Man, I love that track, dude.
Thanks, man. I don't know if I can still play it. It's so difficult. But it's double sweet. Thanks, John.
Yeah, I'm sure you can still play it, man. I saw you in 1973. You didn't see me, of course. You were playing with Chicago in Des Moines, Iowa at Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and the Pointer Sisters opened up for you. Do you remember that tour?
I do. Yeah, I do. I remember the Pointer Sisters. They were sweethearts. They were just such nice people, you know. So, yes, I do.
Well, I was blown away, and you know, you were extremely influential in my drumming growth, and I was going, God, you're playing an awful lot of fills. I go, God, I got to play these fills, so I had to learn how to play your fills like you do, you know.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you learned them.
Yeah, but then they would tell me, don't play those fills. Don't play any fills.
Yeah,
changed,
I know.
You know?
I was really, really fortunate. I remember recording the first album, and looking, and our producer James William Gercio was in the booth, literally waving his hands. Play more fills. Play more fills. He was like in the beginnings. He was like, because it was one of the first times that drums. Well, it was the first time I think that drums were recorded in stereo. In other words, if I started with my on my high rack down and came down to my floor, it would go across the speakers, and he was like, and back and forth. And he was if you listen to the beginnings, I mean, I'm overplaying terribly, but I gotta blame it on Jim Gercio, but it worked. You know, I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I don't know how I stayed in time, to be honest, because Jerry, if you'd have seen him in the booth like a madman, like Phil Spector, kind of like, you know, keep playing, more fills. So I listened.
Well, you know, it's always good to have a producer that gives you great direction, you know, and even though you may not agree with it at the time, you know, he obviously or she sees something.
I wasn't going to argue with him, man. When do you argue with the producer when he's telling you to do more fills? Like you said, they're usually saying don't play anything, you know.
Yes, I've been down that road, and sometimes you're going, man, am I bored, you know? But
yeah.
Then you got a hit record. You know, you were always talking about drummers are almost stereotyped in a lot of ways, right?
Yes.
I mean, why do they stereotype us?
You mean where they say we're not really musicians?
Well, you know? We don't want to hang out with them anyway.
No. No, right. No, we don't hang out with them that long. Drummers stay together. They stereotype us. Why? I don't know. I think they're jealous because we get more women, you know?
Yeah, well, see, there you go. And I'm going to just leave that at that. Tell me when you met Hawk.
I met him at the Caribou Ranch, and, you know, Hawk makes an instant impression on you. Even to this day, he makes an instant impression on you. He's got more energy than any 10 people I know, and especially then, even then. So take Hawk now and put him on steroids, you know, and a little bit of cocaine probably, you know, and it's like, but I always loved Hawk, you know. I mean, I was, some people couldn't handle him because he can be overbearing, but I love the guy because for some reason, I understand him. I don't know what it is. I understand Hawk. And he used to say he was the only guy in our sentimental moments when we're drinking some wine. He was the only guy that really understood me, even JR. He's a great guy.
You know,
he's been a great.
If I'm not mistaken, Hawk is online.
Uh-oh.
Hawk, are you online? I guess Hawk's not online, but he might be. Well, you know what? He probably said, you know, F you, man. I'm out, man.
Yes.
You guys wrote
hey, John, let me
say
something. Let me interject something, okay? Now I can say the F word on your show, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Hawk is the only guy that I know that says fuck more than me. How's that? Let me ask you something, John. Does that describe Hawk?
You're being gentle.
Well, he is. He's the only guy that says fuck more than me. If he'd have been on that Hall of Fame thing, and when you guys get in the Hall of Fame, which I do think you will, I can only imagine when you unleash him on the microphone.
Well, it's a good thing he stopped smoking cigarettes because then he can't bum anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you remember the first song you two wrote together?
Yeah, I do. It was Take Me Back to Chicago. And I remember I wrote these incredible lyrics, and and Hawk and I were always really tight, and musically we were always kind of connected. And I sent him the lyrics, and he said, "Man, these are great." And he did some refinement on it, and then we came over to my house. I lived in Westlake at the time. I had a studio, and we had his keyboard and my drums, and we kind of put the song together like live, and then recorded the demo. And yeah, I remember that. And then we did Little One and Street Player, and we did a few others. We should write.
Right.
We should write again because we were a very good writing team. He's a great guy to write with, which I know you've written with him too. He's a very generous guy to write with. He's very open to your ideas, and
I think that, obviously you guys wrote a whole bunch of songs. Hawk and I wrote several songs together, and including my second record. But he is, and I think he relates to the drummer's philosophy.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah, I agree with you, John. I agree. I love working with him, and I love playing with him too. He's the same way to play with. He's very much listens to drummers, and he was when he was with Madura and he had Ross Salamone. They locked. He's a great guy to play with. We're saying a lot of good things about him. I hope he's listening.
Well, I don't know if he's listening. He may be out gardening for all I know. Okay, do you remember when you guys hired me, brought me to Les Studio in Montreal?
Yes.
By the way, I believe that Hawk is on now. Hey, Hawk, how are you, man?
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Say hey. I hear you.
Hi, Hawk.
Is this Commander Dan Seraphine?
This is Dave.
John. When I don't know if you know this or not, but when you get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you get a title, and it's Commander of Rock. It's official.
I did not know that.
I better have some T-shirts made with that then.
It's Commander of Rock. It's like when you get knighted in England. You know what I mean? It's Sir, but here it's Commander Dan.
Yeah, Commander Dan. I like it. It fits
all
well.
right. I like it too, guys.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. John and I are having fun on the radio. Can you believe it? We're on the radio. Hawk, I told him. I don't know if you heard that. I told him you're the only guy that says fuck more than me.
Okay. Well, then I'll just leave it that way. Because you're beating me already in this interview, so I'll just leave it at that. How about that?
Wow, John, are you standing? Can you believe it?
He's being very gentle, Danny.
I'm being very gentle. Yes. So what's going on? I mean, you guys, what are you talking about? You're digging up the past and.
Well,
we're not using shovels.
John asked a great question about. He said, "What was the first song you guys wrote together?" I said it was "Take Me Back to Chicago." And maybe why don't you tell him the story from your side?
I remember. I remember coming up with the changes, which were kind of like that had a little bit of a jazz kind of like that little jazz kind of jazz change on it, and. Actually, I take that back. You had the lyrics first.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I remember then coming up with the changes to the lyrics. And I think we had to alter a couple of the lyrics because it was your first thing and you weren't quite, sure about rhyme scheme, and about how, you got to have like, when you're trying to write a hit or you're trying to write a normal pop type tune, things have to be kind of structured in a way. And you had a couple of lines. I remember a couple of lines in there that that ran on a little bit longer, rhythmically than you needed. So we had to kind of, what I'm saying? We had to kind of.
I told them that you edited the lyrics a lot, and then we got together in my studio, and we really kind of conceived the song, you know.
And you got a lot better at that. I mean, like at the very beginning, you know, your poetry was sort of just more freehand. You know what I'm saying? A little less rhyme scheme, right? And more freehand. And then you got when we got later on when we started to write, I mean, like all your stuff fit perfectly. So you picked up on the idea because you know time and meter and stuff, and so I don't think it was very difficult for you to do that. So.
Right.
Hey, Hawk, hold that thought. Stay on the line, Hawk, will you please? We'll be right back with Hall of Famer Danny Seraphine.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear. Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
I know you want me, you know I want you. I know you want me, you know I want you. I know you want me, you know I want you. I know you want me, you know I want you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, rumba. Ella quiere su rumba, rumba. Ella quiere su rumba. Si es verdad que tú eres guapa, yo te voy a poner.
We are talking to Hall of Fame drummer Danny Seraphine and guest Hawk Wolinski. Gentlemen, those could be the most expensive 5 notes in history.
I would say so.
That's no doubt.
I would say so. I mean, and most grateful. Let me tell you, you can tell you two guys that are most grateful for those notes.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, John. There's a video, and I'm not sure it's still on YouTube. It probably is. It's called Google. Put in the search in YouTube, the evolution of a song. Those 5 notes, plus a little bit extra in other songs, have been responsible for, gosh, it has to be close to 20 different dance tunes, including Buckethead's "The Bomb," which was the first one done. And I mean, it goes through the whole. It's a well done, well edited little video feature that shows you the evolution of Street Player. Which, by the way,
Danny,
I might add,
the
Chicago guys did not like that song. I mean, it was not. Well, it was on the Rufus record as well, but Chicago guys didn't really like that song, and it didn't really do very well back then. But it was an attempt at disco, and I think that because the groove worked, there was a lot of stuff in that song to sample.
Oh, it was a great song. I mean, it was a really great record. Phil Ramone, we made a great record with Phil Ramone.
I thought it was cool.
Oh yeah, it was you're right. I had to force it down their throat a little bit.
Yeah,
but Peter sings a beautiful vocal performance, and
really well done.
Panko's. By the way, Chicago does it in their show now every night. Did you know that?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway,
well, you see, you can't keep a pit bull down now, can you?
No, you can't. No, that was a gift from God, John. It was a gift from God, believe me.
Hey, listen, man, that just shows you, all the cats that are out there that are trying to write. I've got 2 great accomplished writers online now, and I strive. Hawk, you've taught me a whole lot about writing, and it just shows you that if you keep, your nose to the grindstone. And Hawk, you always said every day, try to put some sort of information down. Either, even if you are I don't say just a drummer, but if you just play the drums, play melodically, remember it, and keep track of your ideas.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great stuff that you can do. Like if you're let's say not inspired to write a song or to finish up a particular piece you're working on or whatever. I mean, another great thing is to keep a notebook of titles, strange titles. Just any title, anything, the meat and potatoes. Okay, let's, it sounds stupid, but put it down. You know what I mean? Just something, whatever it is, and then you go through it. That's a Stephen King trick, because great titles can inspire. That is not. That's a Ray Bradbury trick of writing. That's what he used to do. He would write notebooks filled with titles, book titles.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Hey, Hawk is 100% right there, 150% right. That's a great idea.
Yeah, stuff like that. You can't just get bogged down in the mechanics of songwriting and say, oh, well, I've got to finish this verse, and I can't finish the verse. Well, does that mean you can't be creative? No, it doesn't mean that at all. Go and write like the first line to a song, right? Go and write the opening line to a song. Like with Ain't Nobody, captured effortlessly. That's the way it was. Who's ever used effortlessly in a lyric? You know what I mean? It's got 4 syllables.
Right. It doesn't really roll off your tongue.
No, I mean it doesn't, but it works. So you'd be surprised. So you keep those things for later. You know what I mean? And then you bring them out, and that's kind of like the book that I'm working on. You bring out those. You look back later and you see that line, and you go, oh, wow, what a line. I can't remember when I even wrote that. So I have a book that I'm working on called Co-Writing with Yourself, which is, the ability to store all these ideas and go and access them later. And then, some of them will speak to you and some of them won't. You know what I mean? The ones that speak to you, you can finish them, right? You can finish them, right? And if they don't speak to you, then move on to the next and see what speaks to you. But try to be organized and try to do something creative, whatever it is. I don't care how stupid it is, you know what I mean?
Right. Danny, have you been writing with a new band, for the next record?
No, I haven't been in a writing mode, John, but I need to. I probably need to go visit Hawk to kick my butt into one, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I co-wrote, you know, John, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but I co-wrote some good things on Sacred Ground, but that's 3 years old, you know? I'm not like Hawk.
I love that record.
Yeah, it's a good record. It's a very good record, but I'm not like Hawk. Hawk is a method writer. He writes every day, and I probably should, but I don't. I write when I really get moved, inspired.
Yeah, you can't wait for what it was the great Irving Berlin line. You know, songwriting is 90% perspiration, 10% inspiration. You write crap, and then write 20 pieces of crap, and then one of them will be good. You know, you can pretty much count on it. You work hard. What is it? The harder I work, the luckier I get, right? All of that stuff, you know.
That's all. It all comes into play for sure. That's for sure.
Well, listen, Danny, do you remember when you and I first met?
Yeah, I don't know. You remind me. I mean,
okay,
Hawk
I'm going to remind you
because Hawk introduced us.
That's
I'm
right.
pretty sure.
Hawk was there, and it was in Oahu at HIC Arena or outdoor venue in Hawaii when Rufus and Chaka was playing, and you sat in with me.
Now I remember. I didn't realize that was the first time, John.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't, but I remembered that day.
Yeah, I do too now. I do too. It was really cool.
It was. I think one of the PA speakers fell down that day.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I don't know why.
You were definitely jamming.
Yeah,
Chaka
I mean,
probably
we both when I told Danny about you, you know what I mean. Danny was all excited to hear you, and when Danny heard you, I mean, Danny just looked at me and went, "Oh man."
Yeah.
Well, you guys produced. I got to play on a record you guys produced it called Dakota.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you're a producer's dream. You know what I mean? You know, you have great memory. You got great feel. You know, you're always capable of playing. You know, you can remember takes. You can remember the third take. You know, you can remember the beat, the second half of the B section of the fourth take of 2 days ago. You know, and then you can throw that into what we're doing right now. There's not a lot of guys that can do that. You know, but still be soulful and funky. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Gift, for sure.
Thanks, Hawk. Well, listen. I want to thank the great David Hawk Wolinski for being a guest. For Danny, Hall of Fame. I'm just so proud of you, and deservedly so. Like I said, your music was so influential, not just to me, but just everybody around the world, and we just can't thank you enough. You want to tell everybody how they can get a hold of you?
Call Hawk's
or
House
do you
at
want them
number
to?
614. No, I had to run with that. I'm sorry. Obviously my Facebook page, the Danny Seraphine official Facebook page, whatever that link is, you can type that in, and then www.ctazeband.com.
All right, I'd like to thank the great Hawk and also Hall of Famer Danny Seraphine. This is John Robinson at violentnight.com for Enter Talk Radio. Thanks, Danny.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, Behind the Velvet Rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit mozguitars.com or their Facebook page, mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element, affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs. Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at whichwich.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, WICH. Whichwich.com.